You go to work, you put in the hours, you get paid, and somehow, by mid-month, you're scraping the bottom of your bank account, just waiting for the cycle to reset. We've been conditioned since childhood to follow a specific playbook. Keep your head down, get a good education, find a safe, secure job, and avoid taking risks. In Robert Kiyosaki's framework, this is the classic poor dad. This is the person with a PhD and a stellar resume who, despite doing everything right, lives under constant financial stress. It's a confusing contradiction. If academic degrees and corporate safety nets are the formulas for wealth, then millions of highly educated professionals should not be living paycheck to paycheck. The answer lies with a second archetype, the rich dad. This person might lack a college degree, yet they command massive, generation-spanning wealth. Growing up, financial author Robert Kiyosaki had a front-row seat to both of these extremes. His biological father was the educated poor dad, while his best friend's father was the wealthy rich dad. Watching them, Kiyosaki realized that building wealth has very little to do with the prestige of your university. It comes down to a structural difference in how you view the world. The divergence starts with language. When faced with something that is expensive, the poor dad simply states, "I can't afford it." That phrase is a period. It shuts down the brain and stops any further thinking. The rich dad, faced with the exact same price tag, asks, "How can I afford it?" That simple switch forces the brain to boot up, scan for opportunities, and map out pathways to a goal. This cognitive split extends to their core beliefs. The poor dad is convinced that money itself is the root of all evil. The rich dad believes the opposite, that the lack of money is the root of all evil. Long before you buy a stock or look at a balance sheet, your financial trajectory is dictated entirely by how you frame the problem in your own head. This brings us to the first major lesson. The middle class operates on a strict exchange rate. They trade their limited hours for a fixed salary. The wealthy class operates under a completely different rulebook. They refuse to work for money. Instead, they spend their time building systems, acquiring resources, and launching businesses. They force money to work for them. If you only rely on your own labor, your income is physically capped by the number of hours you can stay awake. Moving past that ceiling requires moving from manual work to creating systems that can function on their own. Escaping that time for money trap requires financial literacy. And despite the jargon you hear on Wall Street, financial literacy really boils down to knowing the functional difference between an asset and a liability. An asset is an entity that puts money into your pocket, like rentals, stocks, or bonds. A liability takes money out. This challenges traditional thinking. Your house and car are liabilities. They consume cash through taxes, maintenance, and loans. They do not generate cash. The middle class remains stuck because they pour their paychecks into liabilities, completely convinced they are buying assets. On a balance sheet, working class salary funnels straight into a swollen liability column to cover mortgages and credit cards, draining entirely. The wealthy flow differently. They sever the salary line. Instead, an asset column independently pumps cash directly into income. The strategy here is direct. Stop seeking the false security of a higher salary and start relentlessly building your asset column. This exact philosophy has been championed and verified by billionaires for decades. True financial freedom is not determined by how much money you earn at your job. It depends entirely on how much of that capital you redirect into things that generate income. Understanding the mechanics of assets and liabilities is only the first phase. Robert Kiyosaki lays out 6 core teachings to rewire your financial brain, and we've only covered 2. We will cover the remaining 4 lessons in part 2. Drop a comment below with your thoughts, hit subscribe, and share this video to make sure you see the next installment. Because if you refuse to change the way you talk and think about your money today, you will simply continue the cycle, working all month just to hit zero by the middle of the next one.